We are going to talk about the last few weeks of my life and just how it was crazy because I got really sick and almost had to withdraw from the DNP program temporarily. So if you guys follow me on my other social media platforms, then you're aware that I got really sick and I was off of work for 3 weeks, and it was life-changing. It was scary. It was one of the darkest times in my life. It really turned my life upside down. So I wanted to come on here and really share the ordeal with you guys. I ended up having a headache for like a day or two, which was not surprising because if I'm stressed out or whatever, I'll get like a little headache. I have a history of migraines, but I haven't had one in like 7 years. So, you know, I got a headache. I took some ibuprofen. I did not have a fever at that time, and I just didn't think much of it because I didn't have any other symptoms. I was not coughing. I did not have shortness of breath. I just had a headache. So it just feels like it progressed from there. My phone. The next day I felt fine, and then a few days later I had a headache. My eyes felt, there was like pain when I would move my eyes with extraocular eye movements, which was weird, and I started to feel nauseated. I ended up taking my temperature to find that it was like 101.8, and at that point I just did not feel well. So I was resting, and then, to make a long story short, I went and had COVID testing, which was traumatic. I am not good at taking pain and discomfort. I don't think anyone likes it, of course not, but I cannot handle it. So when I went for the COVID testing, when they were trying to stick the swab, you know, to do the nasopharyngeal swab, I was just jumping back and I started crying, and you know, I kept telling myself like, calm down, just let it happen, because you want to know what's going on with you. You want to know what this is, because I had had a fever for a few days and it wasn't going away. Like, it would go down with Tylenol, but then as soon as 4 to 6 hours passed by, it was right back up to 100.8, 101, 101.2, 101.8. So I'm like, wow, this is really weird. Like, for days I've had a fever. So they tried to do the COVID testing, and to make a long story short, they didn't really get past the terminus. The person who did my test, you know, of course, they still sent it off. The test came back negative. I was not surprised because, again, they did not do a nasopharyngeal swab because of me. And yeah, I couldn't. As much as I tried to control myself and like to just let it go back, I couldn't. I just ended up, you know, moving my head, and I ended up crying. It was just really traumatic for me, and I never want to go through that again. So anyway, the test was negative, and then after that I was home. And so after that I was home, but still like in a quarantine. So I'm home, I'm sick, I'm in bed. My appetite started to fade, and I got weaker and weaker, just so weak and so nauseated that I couldn't do anything. It just got to the point where I was just laying in bed. All I could do was gather up enough strength to go to the bathroom and back into bed, because going into the bathroom wiped me out. I had to sleep for a few hours if I did that. So this went on for days and days and days, to the point where I wasn't eating at all. And I was barely drinking, because whenever I would drink or try to eat something, I got so horribly sick that food was detestable to me, and water really made me sick, or I just felt nausea that was so much worse than it was if I did not eat or drink. And I knew that not drinking was bad, but I was so ill that I literally couldn't. And I knew that I was getting dehydrated because my lips were like cardboard. They were chapped and they were dry, and I was just laying in bed, just laying there. And I really got to the point where I was so sick, I didn't know what to do. So things just kept getting worse. Like, I kept getting weaker and weaker. I kept getting sicker and sicker. And by this time, I had been sick for a week. By day 8, I had lost 20 pounds. I had diarrhea, I had nausea, I had vomiting, I had poor appetite, I had fever, I had headache, and the severe weakness. So in a nutshell, because I don't want to drag this on, I had those symptoms for about 2 weeks, and I had a fever for about 11 days, 2 weeks. I had a fever for like 2 weeks. Yeah, because then it would get better, and then I would have a fever again. So right about day 10, I woke up and I felt the worst that I had ever felt, ever. Or was it like day 8 or 9? I can't remember. Between day 8 and 10, I lost count of the days, and I lost track of the time, because every day was the same. I just woke up and I was sick all day, and I was sleeping all day, and just praying and sleeping and like talking to my mother. What made it more scary is that people are dying, from COVID. And so you have all of these things going on in your mind. Like, am I going to die? What is going on? I hated when nighttime came, because it was just so quiet and so dark. And so I woke up this particular day and I was worse. At this point, I was short of breath. So I tried to go to the bathroom, and when I went to the bathroom, I felt like I was going to faint. I felt like I'm gonna pass out, and I had to get back to the bed really quick and just lay down really fast. And I was out of breath, and I thought, what the heck is going on? So I ended up going to the emergency room at that point, because I could barely stand without help. It was just really bad that day. And I was really scared that day, because I had never felt like that before. So I was admitted into the hospital because my oxygen saturation kept dropping and my temperature kept going up. When I was there, they gave me Tylenol and brought my temperature down. But when the nurse came back in a few hours later, it was 100.3 again. And I told her, this is what's been happening. Tylenol will take my temperature down, but after like 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours, it's right back up in the 100s. So I was admitted. It was hard because when I was sick, I needed to be isolated, because no one knew what was going on with me. So I had so much time alone, and people couldn't be close to me, and people couldn't be really around me. So I was just sick just by myself. And in the hospital, no one could come in. I had to go in by myself, and I was in isolation. I think the worst thing, the absolute worst, is that you're by yourself most of the time. They won't let anybody come in here. Nobody from my family. It's just me and God. They did a chest x-ray. This was another reason why I was admitted. They did a chest x-ray, and the chest x-ray it showed some opacities on my lungs. It was just a mess. They basically started me on antibiotics. They gave me IV fluids, which really perked me up immediately. I was on cloud 9. I was like, oh, I feel better. And I had Zofran. I tell you, after I was discharged from the hospital and they gave me like Compazine to take home, I started feeling better a good 5 days after discharge. Fast forward to after being off for 3 weeks and, sick for, all of that time, I now feel wonderful. I went back to work about 2 weeks ago, and my body is back to normal. I just have more respect for my health now. I mean, I've always respected my health, but I don't know, when you get that sick for that long, you view the world differently. I was worried about school. You guys know I'm a doctorate student, and I was worried about school when I was sick and when I was in the hospital. So I took my computer and I told myself, if I get the strength, I'm going to write a little bit. But I didn't. I was sick. I couldn't do anything except send my chair a message and tell her I'm in the hospital, I'm very sick, and if I don't get the strength to submit my manuscript by the due date, I'm probably going to withdraw from the class, which broke my heart. It broke my heart. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. It broke my heart to even say that. It made me sicker. But something inside of me felt like this isn't gonna happen. And I told her, I said, I'm not dropping right now. I'm not dropping right now. Because if I get out of the hospital tomorrow is Sunday, and the papers due Wednesday, I might be better by Wednesday. That's exactly what I told her. I said, I'm still giving myself a chance, because what if I'm better? And what if Monday I'm better and Tuesday I'm better, and then I can work on the paper Tuesday and Wednesday, and then I can submit it. So that was our plan, and it worked. By the Tuesday, I was still sick, but I felt well enough to write a few lines, and then I'd sleep, and then I'd write, and then I'd sleep, and then I'd write, and I'd sleep. And that's what I did all day Tuesday. And when I woke up Wednesday, I was a little bit stronger, and then I would take a nap and I would write. So by Wednesday night, I submitted my manuscript. And but it was chapter. Yeah, I submitted my manuscript. It wasn't the final one. It was like a draft type thing. So I was able to submit that. I refused to, it's like I couldn't let myself believe that it was gonna end like that. This semester that I've worked so hard. And I'm just like, really? Like, life, you're really gonna do this to me? So guys, this experience for me really laid out the fact that we're not in control of much. You could be feeling great one day, and then the next day you could be as sick as a little pup, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because even though, I was in the hospital and all this other stuff, I was still sick. I got, IV fluids and I got medicine for nausea, but none of that stuff takes it away 100% completely. So you're still dealing with not feeling well, weakness and diarrhea and body aches. The body aches were just, they were on another level. So it really revealed how fragile we really are. And I guess this experience was so traumatic for me and so eye-opening for me because I've never been that sick before, ever. We will have roadblocks. There will be wrenches thrown in the mix. We will have obstacles, we will have roadblocks that you never even imagine would happen. Nothing is guaranteed, and whatever happens in life, you just kind of have to roll with the punches. But I did learn a lot. I learned to lean on God, when situations happen that are out of your control. I think what was really hard for me was that there was nothing I could do about the way that I felt. Nothing made me feel better. And there was literally nothing I could do about it except pray. And I kept telling myself, if I pray hard enough and have enough people praying for me, that this is going to end. I'm gonna feel better. And it's so funny how when you have a lot of time on your hands, you start thinking about everything. I thought about the days that I felt good. I thought about when I used to, when I was going on vacation, how well I felt, how happy I felt. And I just longed to feel like that, just even for a few minutes. It was crazy how much I wanted that feeling back, even just if it was for 1 minute. And so after I got better, it really made me appreciate being well. Like right now, I feel great. I can eat food. I can drink water and whatever else I want to drink without getting sick. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful when I open my eyes in the morning and I feel good and I feel normal and I feel well. I'm grateful. It's like that, that period of sickness really brought me closer to God. Although we had a close relationship already, it's stronger and I feel closer to Him because in that time when I was sick, because I had to be quarantined and all that stuff, I was alone. And again, if you guys look at some of my old videos about me feeling at certain points in my life like God was my only friend, I was right back there where I was alone and the only person I had to rely on was God. And that's okay because He's the strongest. He's the strongest person in your life and the only one that can really make something like what I was going through go away. So in all honesty, He's all I really needed. And a lot of that was revealed to me when I was sick. So now that I'm better, what's going on? What happened with school? School is good. I'm right at the end of the program. I am working on the final manuscript and waiting for some feedback on it. I'll be done really soon. Just take care of yourselves. I'm very careful when I'm at work, washing my hands, using hand sanitizer, making sure that I have my mask on, and just really trying to protect myself. Because as nurses, At one point, we used to say that nurses, you know, take care of other people and they save lives, but we risk our lives too. And this COVID pandemic has really made it clear that as a medical professional, you are risking your life, because this virus, you know, they're trying to learn more about it. It can do so much to the human body, and there's so much that we don't understand. Yet we are on the front lines taking care of people that are infected with it, and we know how contagious it is. And so every time you take care of a patient that is positive, you're at risk. I am praying for everybody who's out there on the front lines, including other professions, police officers and people who drive the bus or the metro, people who work in grocery stores. At this point, I feel amazing. I'm so good. I feel so good. So I just really thank God for that, and just everybody that was supporting me when I didn't feel well. I'm so happy. I feel so blessed to have so many people who love me. And I really missed you guys, like, so much. I kept thinking about you guys, and I'm just really happy to be here in this moment right now. So yeah, I just wanted to update you guys and let you know I'm back on it. I will be, you know, communicating more, releasing more videos, and pretty soon sharing my experience in this doctorate program. Just really giving you guys the deets on, yeah, on this. It's a lot. So yeah, so that's where I am, guys, and I am gonna get off of here because I'm hungry. I really want to grab something to eat and then start editing this video so that I can release it tomorrow. I am gonna end this video here. It was so good to talk to you guys again, and I am gonna start working on some more material and just really getting back to my channel that I love so much. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Be safe.